So, today I want to talk about art. Art is very important to me. Before I ever came into the shop and started building things and grinding things and forging things and driving things and blah, 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 before doing any of that, I used to make art all the time. And I really, really enjoyed it. It was a big thing for me, right? So I used to do art when I was probably about like 11 or 12 or 13 or so. I used to do lots of art. I used to draw all the time with pencils, and I try and branch out to watercolors, pastels, Sharpies, sometimes pencil crayons, stuff like that. I used to draw lots of cartoon characters. I used to draw scenes. I used to draw a lot of trees, like I think various different things. A lot of Zelda style stuff or like Dark Souls inspired. I really, really like Shadow of the Colossus. I tend to draw stuff like that, just based on video games and shows that I've watched, like Adventure Time too, so on. And I was very, very into that. And I really wanted to go somewhere with that. I really wanted to be a cartoonist when I grew up, which didn't pan out, but whatever. And I was unfortunately crushed because there was a big test. There was this big art competition in seventh grade. I was so excited. I entered three things. I entered a comic book, 15 pages, laminated or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I entered a painting. I entered a pastel or watercolor painting. Um, so three different things. My idea was that I would at least place something. I just had to place something, I really just had to. And I was so excited to do it, and I was dead confident I was going to place. But then when the time voting came around, I didn't place at all. And I was really upset. I was honestly really crushed. I felt like Hitler, like I would never do what Hitler did, obviously, but I understand that feeling of, trying to get some validation for your art, and then all you get is like shut down and criticize. That hurts a person. So I was pretty upset because what really did it for me is I go and look at what placed, and first place, understandable. First place was this big, beautiful portrait of like this fairy lady sitting on top of a mushroom. Very cool. Second place was this drawing. It was a drawing on loose leaf. It was crinkled up. Part of it was ripped. It was done in pencil, and it had a bunch of Minecraft zombies, and they had like bats, cowboy hats, a gun, crossbow, and it said Minecraft, The Blocking Dead. And that made me want to fucking kill myself. That made me so upset. I was so fucking angry. I was really upset. Pardon my French, but I was very, very upset. And that crushed me for a long time. And there's an important lesson to be learned there, that you shouldn't place the validity of the art that you're making on other people's ideas, because they don't understand you. You have to have some form of validation that you can bring from your own mind. You have to, and you have to learn how to do that. I wasn't really taught how to do that, so I was very, very crushed by that. And for a long time, I wouldn't show off my art. I wouldn't show off the stuff that I made, and I just kind of keep it to myself. But I think it's worth showing off. I think it's worth displaying and talking about, because I have a lot of it, and it has a lot of different interesting ideas. I'm very obsessed with faces. I'm very obsessed with like long masculine faces. I'm very obsessed with some form of mutilation, ideas of torture. There's some sort of sexual connection there, something like that. There's some kind of like something about like sexual abuse or sexual violence. There's something that comes up in the art that I do. I don't do much shading up until recently. My recent drawings are gifts for people. I did them. I did this thing through all December where I drew one photo a day for one of my friends or family. But I ended up getting carried away because I have a lot of very loving friends and family, which is great. So I ended up doing like more than 25. I think it was like up till New Year's, and a bit past that. I must have did like 30 drawings, and I was very, very just hammering them out. And I mean, those had a reference photo, so they're a bit less creative, but they're mostly about like getting a juxtaposition of different ideas. Some of them would have a little bit of a political edge to it. Not really like serious though, mostly just a joke. One of my favorite ones here, if I can find it. Let's see here. There's a picture I did, and it's got Hatsune Miku putting Justin Trudeau in a chokehold. Personally, I'm not going to go attack Justin Trudeau, anything. I'm not like that. But I do think he's a pussy. And I just don't like his face. You know, I'm an empath. And when I see Justin Trudeau on the news and I see his face, I actually break into tears and I start crying. And when I listen to him speak, I actually get traumatized and I need time to recover because Justin Trudeau is just such a huge pussy that it upsets me so deeply. And I really have to feel that out because he just has such a terrible negative vibe to him. And anyways, I don't want to talk about it, so I'm just going to skip past that. But either way, my other art, you know, I've done some pretty interesting ones. I got one here, MILF Madness. I met this wonderful lady I've been talking to, and she kind of inspired this paint, this drawing in here in me. And you can tell by the way I'm stammering that I still deal with this suffering, this MILF madness. It's very hard. You can see from the eye bags, you can see that one of the eyes has actually turned white. The pupil and everything, the iris, it's all gone. That's one of the effects of MILF madness. You see acne breaking out, receding hair, ear growth, stuff like that. You know, MILF madness is a very serious condition. You can look that up. It's very true. Other ones I've done, you know, I've gotten speeding tickets and driving infractions. Nothing super serious, just being a dink, and then some cop gets mad, and then blah, 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 and so on. So I would just get angry, and I just kind of scribble out over it. I had to remove some personal details, but I wanted to try and include those too because I think it's funny. You know, it's funny to just get speeding tickets and being like, oh, send me more. It doesn't unfuck your mom. It's good to do that. One of these drawings is like this little cat creature, and it's got its head on this like mechanical glove thing. These are lyrics. Some things only I have seen, some things only I have been. Used to know who I was. Fuck if I knew who that was. Pay no mind, illogical. I forget what the song is called. I think it's Up My Sleeves. That was a good song. I quite like that song. I'm a big Death Grips fan, big Electric Wizard fan. You could tell if I like a band because the lyrics will show up in this work, so on. Some of them get very, very personal. There's one that I did that was kind of from the subconscious, but it's about, I think it's about sexual abuse and, you know, that sort of feeling when the victim of sexual abuse starts to blame themselves and the pain that they face and everything. Not even just sexual abuse, but being assaulted in any sort of form. It's not your fault. You're just the victim, but you have to take on the full weight of the pain and the suffering despite you not asking for it or deserving it. It just happens to you regardless. And in this photo, I have this pig's head, and I don't know, I think that's connected to when I read Lord of the Flies as a kid, because I really, really like that book. And I like that scene where the one kid talks to Beelzebub or whatever, talks to this pig head, and he has a seizure and he starts hallucinating and the pig head's talking and blah, blah, blah. I thought it was really interesting. So I put that into there. I got one of them that's kind of neat. I like this one. I had this this little paper, and I think it was my ex, and it was a bunch of debris from her coloring book. She had this coloring book, and she'd use these markers that would bleed right through the pages. So I looked at it and started seeing some things, and then I started drawing them out. Different things like balloons, fish, people, gas masks, I don't know, Coraline or something like that. Some kind of different faces. They all just kind of showed up when I looked at it a certain way. Filled it out. I got another one here. This one's very personal. This is a drawing of me killing myself. That's pretty intense, committing seppuku. The reality is that I suffer. I do suffer mentally. It's nobody's really fault in particular. It just kind of happens. Sometimes it's just how it goes, you know. And I deal with a lot of self-hatred. I deal with a lot of self-blame. And that reflects back into different issues in my life and blah, 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 so on and so forth. But I was about to do this, and I was fully ready to do this, and I drew this out. I hope that my oppressors look into my eyes as I destroy myself, your eyes unable to ever blink again. And that's very metal, and I don't actually believe that anymore, but It was this kind of anguish that I felt from dealing with assault and dealing with things that I never choose to go through. And I was not very functional to be able to handle those things. And I wish that the people who did it could face some kind of justice, or at least take on the weight of the suffering that I felt. In reality, you can't live this way. In reality, you have to let go, you have to forgive, you have to accept, which I've done since then. And I went and got baptized, which helped quite a bit. Very thankful for my church and my pastor for that. Really changed my life. But this was a very personal thing. And like I said, art is to express the repressed. So that's why I drew a photo of me killing myself. Another one that I've done recently, this is a different whole thing, but I'm really happy with this one. I cut some photos out of a National Geographic magazine from like the 70s or 80s, and it was talking about like rhino horn trade and everything, like the ivory trade, I believe. And it was talking about poaching and talking about like killing leopards and skinning them illegally, like poaching leopards for coats and stuff like that. And I don't know, it just reminded me of my own personal issues. I have issues with like dog breeders, not like the, you know, ethical ones, ethical. But my issues with the ones that are just like running fucking dog factories where they just like genetically breed these like absolute freaks of creatures. And yeah, I'm not very subtle with it. This girl's tattoo says, "I heart incest dogs." Her tits are out. She says, "Wow, I love your jacket. It's so chic. Maybe I could turn this stupid fucking dog into one of those." And she's got this super inbred dog. It says, "I wish the rich would skin me alive." And then it says, "Turn the poor into skin coats." And then it's Kilroy and he's holding up a sign. And then it's got some info about the leopard trade or whatever, and kind of interesting. I just cut these out from the National Geographic and then I just kind of glued them onto there. I took 2 pieces of paper and taped them together to make one wide one. I'm pretty happy with this one. I think it's pretty ham-fisted in terms of political meaning, but I still like it nonetheless. And I like how I did the scene and everything. It's just, I think it's interesting compared to my usual stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I like my art. I like to express these feelings that I have deep inside. It allows me to deal with them. It allows me to learn things about myself. And it allows me to get these things that bug me out of my mind. And to some people, it's interesting. To some people, it has meaning, which I'm very happy about. Lately, I've been focusing more and more on the art because I've been trying to get back in the shop here, as I found that due to the modern society, you know, social media, all the different short form content on YouTube, Instagram, Reels, TikTok, and stuff like that, my dopamine levels in my brain and my brain's ability to process things and have an attention span, it's just been wiped out. I've just been so fried. And I'm not even doing drugs. Like, I'm dead sober. Every once in a while, I'll have like a drink. Maybe once in a long time, I'll get high or whatever. But for the most part, I'm dead sober and I still am like barely functional. And that's really, really sad that this happened. But the culprit is from using all these different things. And it really does just try and like kill your brain. So I've been using the art as a means to complete tasks in order to move myself forward and build up my attention span again, and build up my ability to focus and work, and build up my determination. And it's worked very, very good. You know, this month of December, I drew about 25 or 30 drawings. Like pretty much one every day. Some days I'd be postponing and procrastinating. So I'd end up having to draw 3 to 6 drawings a day on some days, which was quite a lot of work, but I ended up doing it. And I'm very happy with it. I did all these things. I feel successful. I can come on here and show off this art I'm doing. It's been very good. The big thing to keep in mind is that if you just put your mind to it, you stay focused, you stay determined, and if you have faith in it, it'll come. And you'll be able to do all these drawings. You'll be able to do what you want. And as you do it more and more and more, you can get closer to doing it exactly how you see it in your mind. And you can get closer to doing it at such a fast rate that you don't lose track of the idea in your mind. So my best advice is, again, just keep at it, keep trying. And as you do those things, you can get closer and closer and closer to getting this sort of zenith where you can just think of something, draw it, think it, draw it, you know, think it, dream it, do it. And then it's just out on paper. And it's really, really satisfying to get to that stage. I'm really happy that I've put the work in to get there, because the difference between one of my most recent drawings and one of my oldest ones, I don't agree with neo-Nazism, by the way. The swastika looks cool. One of my oldest ones, you could see a big difference there. And I love looking at this evolution of it, not trying to, you know, whack myself off here, but I like this sort of evolution and how things have changed. I think it's very interesting. So if you keep focused and if you keep trying and if you have faith in it, you'll get there. And you just have to keep trying. And that's sort of my lesson for the day. Focus on your art. Find a way to express yourself. Because if you can't express yourself, then you'll live the life of the repressed, which I think is a life that nobody should want to live. And you should try and find methods to get these ideas out that aren't in a harmful way, that aren't trying to harm anybody or compromise anybody, and do it in a way that can, I don't know, try and bring some interesting thoughts and ideas out. And yeah,